Hey everyone, welcome to Paint the Kitchen Red. I'm Nina and I share Instant Pot tips, manuals, guides, and recipes on my blog, Paint the Kitchen Red. Today I'm going to be talking about the Instant Pot Duo Nova. This is an Instant Pot model that is kind of a cross between the base model, Instant Pot Duo, and the Instant Pot Ultra, in that it has the same kind of buttons that the Duo has, but it has the steam release mechanism of the Ultra. So it's the best of both worlds. And if you have one of these appliances and you've been a little nervous about using it, it can be kind of intimidating. There are lots of buttons and it seems really complicated. Then you've come to the right place, because I'm going to help you out by showing you all the parts and how to put it together and how to use the most common buttons. So I know there are a lot of buttons and a lot of functions, but you don't need to know all of them today. You can just learn a handful of buttons and get going. And as a matter of fact, I have quite a few Instant Pots, and I really get by with like 5 or 6 buttons, because I use the pressure function most often, and I find that meets my needs more than enough. And so I don't really use the other buttons, which are really more like pre-programmed functions like on your microwave. So I will go over them briefly, but I'll just talk about the more important buttons today. So one of the things that happens is people buy the Instant Pot and they leave it in the box and don't get it out because they're so scared to use it. And then at some point down the line, a year down the line or whatever, they open it, try to use it, and it happens where they've got a defective model, and then they're kind of out of luck because there's really nothing they can do at that point. They can't return it to the store, and it's not under warranty, so they're stuck with this expensive appliance that is completely useless. So for that reason alone, if your Instant Pot is still in the box, then I urge you to get it out of the box. Another thing I hear about from readers and Instant Pot users is they are worried about the safety of the Instant Pot. They've heard horror stories about grandma's pressure cooker exploding and they're just too scared to use it. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is not your grandma's pressure cooker. This is a very safe appliance. The Instant Pot company has a lot of built-in features into this appliance that if you mess up and do something wrong, the worst that can happen is you get an error code and it just kind of stops working at that point, and you fix the error and you can continue using it. So there's really nothing to worry about. And so if that's been holding you back, I hope you will take it out of the box and get started. So I'm gonna let you do that, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll go over the parts and I'll tell you how to put it together. And what we're gonna do is do the water test, which is basically we're gonna pressure cook water. Why do we do that? We pressure cook water, which is doing the water test, for 2 reasons. One is for you to get familiar with the Instant Pot and learn how it works without using a complicated recipe. And the second is to make sure it works. If you have a defective unit, you'll find out when you do the water test, and so that way you can return it or do whatever you need to do, contact the company and get that fixed. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get started. Here's what's shipped with the Duo Nova. You have a couple of manuals. This is a cheat sheet that tells you cooking times for different types of foods. Here's a steam rack or trivet that allows you to elevate the food or use it for pot-in-pot cooking. And finally, an extra sealing ring that you can use for desserts, or you can just keep it on hand as an extra. Let's go over the lid. This is the lid handle. Here we have the lid fins, and you use them to prop open the lid. I'll show you that in a minute. This is a steam release valve, and it rotates pretty freely, and you pull on it to take it out. And when you push it back in, make sure you push it in all the way. Here we have the steam release button, and you push on it to release steam, and you turn it counterclockwise to put it back into the sealing position. This little metal piece is called the float valve, and you can access it from the inside, and when you push on it, it goes up and down. Now let's turn the lid over, and I'll show you the parts on the inside. This is the sealing ring, and you can gently pull on it all the way around to get it out of the sealing ring rack. And when you put it back in, make sure that you push it in all the way around. The sealing ring might be a little tight when you first get the Instant Pot, but it does loosen up as you use it. And make sure you push it in all the way. If you have a part sticking out, you can have issues with the Instant Pot pressurizing. If the sealing ring has been put in properly, then you should be able to rotate it in place. It may be hard to do, but it should move in the sealing ring rack. Here we have the float valve. Once again, I'm going to remove it by taking off the silicone cover, and the float valve just pops right out. Be careful, don't lose it. And then stick it right through the hole again and cover it with the silicone cover to put it back in place. This is the lid locking pin. This is the pin that engages the lid and keeps it locked when your Instant Pot pressurizes. And here we have the anti-block shield. I use a silicone trivet to remove the anti-block shield. It pops right off. And you may sometimes need to clean it if you're cooking messy foods, and push it right back in. If you want to use your fingers to remove the anti-block shield, you can do that. I find it easier to use the silicone trivet or a dishcloth to remove the anti-block shield. We put the liner or inner pot into the base unit, and we prop the lid open by putting the lid fin into the lid fin slot. There are lid fin slots on both sides of the Instant Pot, so you can prop it open either on the right or left side. You push the condensation collector in to the notches at the back of the base unit. Push it in all the way. The condensation collector collects condensation that pours off of the lid onto the rim of the Instant Pot. In general, there's nothing in there, but once in a while, if you're cooking something really messy, like pasta, I've found, you can have pasta water collect in the condensation collector, and it can be pretty messy. If you don't discover it in time, and it's been a few days, it's like you have a science experiment growing in there. So this I tell you from experience. So just check that condensation collector every so often to make sure there's nothing in there. And if there is, then you can wash it in the dishwasher or just use a brush or something to get in there and clean it out. Here we have the plug, and I'm going to plug it in to the back of the base unit at the bottom, and then plug that into the wall socket, which turns on the Instant Pot display. To close the lid, you're going to put the lid on with the arrow on the lid lining up with the arrow on the base unit with a picture of an open lock. Turn the lid clockwise to close it, and you'll see that the arrow on the lid will be lined up with the arrow on the base unit with the picture of a closed lock. To open the lid, you just turn the lid counterclockwise and lift it up. We're ready to do the water test. I'll add 2 cups of water to the inner pot. You can use 3 cups. The manual says 3 cups, but I use 2 cups because it takes less time for the Instant Pot to come to pressure with 2 cups. Close the lid by turning it clockwise and press pressure cook, and change the time to 5 minutes using the plus and minus buttons. And the display will change to on in a few seconds. You'll soon see steam coming out of the top of the lid, and you may smell a funny smell. That shouldn't happen again. It's normal. It happens with some Instant Pots. And once the pressure is built up, the float valve will come up. At some point, the display will change from on to 5 minutes. This may take a little bit, so be patient. Once it changes to 5, it'll count down to 0. And I've sped up the video, so obviously this would take 5 minutes to go down to 0. If your Instant Pot is in keep warm mode, the display will now count up from 0 up to whenever you press cancel. We're going to quick release pressure by pressing the steam release button. Once the steam has been released, the float valve will go down and you can open the lid by turning it counterclockwise. Watch out for the steam, it'll be hot, so keep your hands and face away from the Instant Pot when you're opening the lid. And now we can put the lid fin into the slot in the handle of the base unit to prop it open. Okay, so you have all the information that you need to get started with the Instant Pot Duo Nova, but I'm going to briefly go over the buttons. Now this may be a little confusing, so if you want to, you can come back to this section of the video once you've done the water test and you've used the Instant Pot for the first time, because some of the terminology may be a little bit confusing, or it may be too much information. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over some of the more important buttons that the Duo Nova has, in particular the pressure cook function and the buttons that go with it. You'll be using pressure cook most of the time, and then I'll briefly go over some of the other buttons. If you press a button repeated times, it toggles between less, normal, and more. And these are just like presets on a microwave. They're just preset times, and you can use any of those and you can customize them. You customize the time by pressing the plus or minus button. And if you want to do a delay start, you press the delay start button and plus or minus to change the hour, and press delay start again and plus or minus to change the minutes. After a few seconds, it'll stop blinking and it will beep. And the delay start will cause the Instant Pot to come on in 8 hours and 20 minutes to pressure cook. To change the pressure level from low to high, you press the smart function and press the pressure level. And when you press it multiple times, it toggles between low and high. Now I'm going to press cancel and just show you how some of the other functions work. For example, with the soup, the same as the pressure cook, you just press it multiple times to toggle between less, normal, and more. And that's how all these buttons work. The saute function is used to saute foods in the Instant Pot before or after pressure cooking, and you use it without the lid. The rice function defaults to 12 minutes at low pressure, but you can change that if you want to customize it. The rest of the functions are all similar to each other. They all work about the same way. The yogurt function allows you to make yogurt. You boil the milk first and then you ferment it using the yogurt button. Well, I think you're ready to get started cooking your first recipe. I would suggest that you try something easy like boiled eggs or steaming vegetables or something simple so you get the hang of it, and then you can go on to more complicated recipes. One piece of advice that I give people is when you are looking at a recipe online, just make sure you read the comments and that it's a tried and tested recipe so that you don't have any issues. All the recipes on my blog are tried and tested and I stand by them. So if you have any questions at all, you can comment on the recipe itself on my blog, paintkitchenred.com, or you can comment here, and I do my best to answer every question. And so if you want to contact me that way, I can help you out to the best of my ability. Well, I hope you enjoy your new Instant Pot Duo Nova, and stay tuned for some more videos, and I'll see you next time.